Welcome to All Time Free Tutor. Today we'll start with compound interest. Basic concept of compound interest. Before solving the any problem, you must need to know the terms as we know in the simple interest. Before starting this, I want to tell you, if you face any kinds of difficulties to find this sheet, where is my sheet, then I'll suggest go to the update section and thereafter from this list find out compound interest. Here is my compound interest. Okay, so click and you will move to the compound list. Okay, now coming to this term P, principal. P, principal. This term exactly same as simple interest. We know about the simple interest already. So this is exactly same thing. I. Here I may be two types of I. Maybe simple interest, maybe compound interest. So in your question, read properly which is mentioned, simple interest or compound interest. If it is written interest only, neither simple nor compound, then you have to understand this is nothing but simple interest. In case of compound interest, you must have to use this word compound. Okay? Yearly interest, we know about this already. Time, we have to represent in year, we know already this. And PI, the amount will get in our hand after a certain time. Okay, we know about this term. Now these two variables has been included in compound interest. Before telling this, we have to know what is actually the compound interest. Compound interest means after a certain time, my interest will be calculated and it will be added to our principal once again. Repeating once again, after a certain time, the interest will be calculated and thereafter it will be added to the principal. So, after that certain time period, my principal amount has been changed. In case of simple interest, it does not change. Principal amount will remain constant. Okay, throughout the whole time period. Throughout the whole time period, the principal P will remain constant. But in case of compound interest, what is happening? The principal amount P will automatically change after a certain duration, not whole period. Okay, so here a division, D means division in year. That means how many times a year is divided. How many times a year is divided. That is D D. Okay, just coming to the D. Coming to the D. Click here and come here. Okay, D. D means D will be 1. D is equals to 1 if it is a yearly interest. That means interest will be paid once in a year. Interest will be paid once in a year. It is yearly interest. In case of yearly interest, D will be 1. If it is a half yearly interest means will get interest every 6 months. That means 2 times in a year. Then D will be equals to 2. Interest will be calculated twice in a year here in this case. Okay. When quarterly interest, in your question read properly whether quarterly interest is mentioned or not. If it is quarterly interest is mentioned, that means interest will be calculated each 3 months. That means 4 times in a year. So interest will be calculated 4 times in a year. Okay. So in that case, D is equals to 4. D is equals to 4. In case of monthly interest, interest will be paid every 1 month. That means interest will be paid 12 times in a year. So D is equals to 12 in that time. This is D. How many times interest will be calculated or interest will be paid. Okay. Now this is number of cycle. N. Number of cycle. N. This depends on how many division in a year and how many year we have to invest. This depends on these two things. Okay. Number of cycle. Number of cycle means total how many times the interest will be calculated throughout whole time of investment. D means how many times interest will be calculated in a year, and N means how many times interest will be paid throughout the time of T. Okay. I am coming to this calculation of N. Okay. Calculator. Suppose T is 5 years. That means I have to invest for 5 years. And D is given is 4. That means it is a quarterly interest. Then what will be the value of N? N equals to T into D. That means 20 times. That means throughout the 5 years of period, 20 times interest will be calculated and added with the principal. Okay. But in case of, that's why it is called compound. But in case of simple interest, In case of simple interest, the interest will be calculated for the 5 years. 5 years means 5 times will be calculated. That means if d is equals to 1, the formula of compound interest and simple interest will be exactly same. Exactly same formula. No change. Okay. This is the calculate. In this way we can calculate N. Now I am coming to the formula. Okay, we know this formula. In case of simple interest, this is the formula, we already know this. Now in case of compound interest, we have two types of formula. Some book refers first equation, some book refers second equation. Both equations are exactly same. No difference. See this properly. Just what is the difference? Difference is somewhere in one equation it is given power is n. One for second formula power is nd. Okay. So what is the difference? Why it is difference? Because in that case, in first formula is n equals to td. In this formula, n equals to td. Okay. T means we have to represent T into ER. And D is the division of the ER. And in the second formula, N equal to T. So ultimately both equation has become exactly same, TD. I'll prefer the first formula as a simpler one. Okay. This formula as a simpler one, first formula. So in this case, we cannot calculate interest I directly like simple interest formula. In the simple interest formula, we calculate the interest I directly and thereafter we find out the PI. But in case of compound interest, we have to calculate the PI first and then we have to calculate the I. Okay. So this is the formula, and the calculation of this formula is not a easy task without calculator. It is very difficult to calculate without calculator. But if in your exam it is not allowed, then you have to use some trick to calculate so large values. Okay, maybe the question will not be given so tougher to calculate these values. Okay, maybe it will be given much more simpler number so that we can calculate simple calculation which are possible in the exam hall. Okay, so for that purpose, if we have to use without calculator, then I have modified this equation in this way. I have calculated the factor. I have calculated the factor. This portion within the bracket I have made as a factor f. I have written as a f. So my formula has been changed. Pi equals to p into f to the power n. P into f to the power n. The formula has been changed. So we have to calculate f first, and thereafter we have to multiply everything. Okay, in this way. Now in your book, if n is mentioned, if you get the n is equals to 1, then it will be p into f. If n is equals to 2, then it will be p into f square, f into f. If n equals to 3, p equals to f into f. I am telling so easily, but it is not so easy to calculate without calculator. F cube. Very ridiculous task without calculator. Okay, so keep your head cool and calculate in the exam hall. Now I think you know how to convert the time already in the simple interest. We know this, how to calculate the pi, exactly similar concept. Okay, so this is about all are the basic things. We'll later know how to solve any compound problem, interest problem. Okay, thank you.